From a very basic kind of foundation, the DMP kind of has three key components, right? The first is the ability to ingest data and be able to take in kind of meaningful data signals that come in from first-party data that a marketer may have from web behavior that's happening on the site. Could be offline or CRM data that the marketer has as well that they can onboard into a centralized repository. The second is this notion of, now that you've got the data, how do you organize that data in a way that's actually meaningful to the marketer, right? Taking these behaviors that are happening on site and creating audience segments around them. And then the third component is essentially the ability to then action against those segments, right? To take a segment like a social female or a sports enthusiast and then find that audience and those people that belong to those audiences across multiple channels. Could be within display, search, social, but really being able to syndicate those segments out and finding those users out there in the space. Now, that kind of has evolved, right? The data management platform has evolved to a degree by really looking at going beyond just data and leveraging, and how do you actually take data and tie it back to identity management, right? The DMP is really evolving into an identity management platform. And what I mean by that is not just taking the data and marrying it to these different channels that are out there, but how do you take the data that's being consumed, tying it to a single view of a user, and then doing that across multiple devices and multiple screens. I think that's been the key kind of component of kind of the way that we look at the DMP space and our role in it. There's some new cross-device capabilities that we're coming out with that really enable a marketer to have different conversations with folks within the same household. So think about a classic example of the household tablet where mom, dad, and there's maybe 2 to 3 kids that are also leveraging that same tablet. For example, let's say a cereal manufacturer, let's say General Mills, is coming out and looking to, they realize that each member of the household has a different preference on cereals. The marketer, in this case General Mills, wants to have a very tailored conversation with each of those individuals. They want to have a different conversation with each one. I may be a Cocoa Puffs fanatic, my wife may be someone who loves Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Right? So the whole idea here is to provide the marketers the ability to have the tools to define when they want to talk to an individual in the household versus when they want to talk to the entire household. Right? So another example is taking a look at a financial institution like an online banking institution. They typically the mom and dad have a shared account, and in this account they have one login, one authentication. In that particular case, the bank and the marketer is looking to have one single conversation with the account holders as opposed to treating them as 2 different people. To kick it off, all the data that's coming into the DMP is in an anonymous fashion, right? So there's no PII or personally identifiable information that is onboarded onto the DMP. From a collection standpoint, that it varies the gamut, right? It goes across the entire kind of spectrum of data. That can be a customer's first-party data based on web behavior that's happening on the site. That data may be collected through Adobe Analytics or any analytics tool that's out there in the space. We also have offline and CRM data that customers own themselves that they bring on into the data management platform. And then we've got an industry-leading integrations with the major third-party data providers and partners that are essentially allowing our customers to leverage the data that they have in these different personalization efforts that marketers or publishers may look to conduct.